Right. Mic is working, audio's working, camera's working. I think we are good to go. Let me make sure I got this right here. That's working. Bet. Yo. What it do? Welcome back, everybody, to another Sabbath Thursday. Let me get this off the screen. Let me fix this real quick. It's like it's not hooked up properly. Let's try that one more time. There we go. Let's try that one more time. Yo. What it do? Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Sabbath Thursday. Welcome. I want to give a big shout out to all the new subscribers. I see our count is going up. We are at 3,000. Not that I really care about the count. Remember, we didn't start the YouTube channel to do this whole live thing, right? We really started the YouTube channel for our students. It's just extra material, extra content for our students to look at and get their hands on when they're outside of class. But nonetheless, thank you everybody that's been joining us. Thank you for all the comments, all the suggestions, all the tips, all the tricks. Yo, we love it. Thank you. And if you ever have any material, content, questions, comments, concerns that you want to share, just leave it in the comment section. We do our best to try to respond to every single body, right? Every single body, we do our best to respond. Now, before we go further, right, let me break down the game plan for today. I have some notes over here to try to help me stay on track. Game plan for today. We had a student, I'll keep his name private. He might join us in a few on Zoom. We are also streaming on Zoom right now. We had a student, he had a question. How do you install Splunk on multiple servers from one machine? So we're going to answer that question today. We kind of been answering that question within the last few Sabbath Thursdays, though. Right? If you've been following along, we have been using Ansible to remotely set up a Splunk server, just one though, right? We've been remotely setting up one Splunk server. So we're going to answer his question and remotely configure two servers, right? And the same way we would configure two servers is the same way you would configure three servers, four servers, five servers, six servers. It's the same way, right? You could even use the same simple playbooks if you just added some dynamic variables in there. So that's the game plan for today. We're going to install Splunk from one server, right, to multiple instances, all right, and we'll explain everything that's on the screen, right, because that's actually what we're going to be using. Now, you all, I saw a lot of new subscribers, some new comments about Security Plus. Look, if you all are getting ready for your Security Plus, okay, there's a lot of free resources out there to help you get Security Plus certified, right? We also have free resources here on YouTube, right? You can go look at our Cyber Thursdays YouTube channel. You can look at our Cert Blaster YouTube channels. You can look at our Study Hall YouTube playlist, right? You can go check out those playlists. It's dope, good content, good Q and A's. Definitely check it out if you're looking for free resources. Something else that I want to throw out there is our Security Fundamentals Academy. All right, that is going to take the free resources to another level. Free resources are dope, right? I love free things. Anything that I could do for free, I don't mind, right? Especially when it comes to learning new content. However, everybody can't use free resources to fully grasp new content. Everybody can't use free resources to fully understand a new subject, a new tool, a new piece of technology. Some of us need our hands held. Some of us need someone to guide us throughout the entire process, even when we get lazy, when we get confused, when we become afraid to ask a question. We need that person. We need that group, that community. If that's you, you definitely need to check out our Security Fundamentals Academy, right? It's a pretty dope academy, dope program, dope resources, dope community, right? It's not just going to prepare you for the Security Plus exam. The Security Plus certification is just one thing, right? That's to me, right? In my opinion, that's just the icing on top. If you can't articulate the skills that you're learning within the Security Plus, if you can't articulate these things with confidence, you're not comfortable, you can't actually illustrate the skills that you've learned, you can actually go inside of Active Directory and start managing objects, you can't jump into Splunk and start identifying different security events, you can't configure, or let's not even get that deep, you can't just simply run a vulnerability scanner and be able to start prioritizing risk, then you know, you need to sign up for our Security Fundamentals Academy, right? Because we're not just going to teach you and prepare you for the Security Plus exam. We're also going to teach you the hands-on skills that employers are looking for, hands-on skills that employers need to solve real-world problems, and we're going to break it down in baby steps. Okay, we're going to break it down in baby steps, and we're going to build it all the way back up as professionals. All right, that is our Security Fundamentals Academy. It's a 10-week academy, Monday through Thursday, 8:15 p.m. to 9:35 p.m. It does come with extra study hall sessions. It comes with career development. It does come with, guess what? Help with job placement. All right, and obviously it comes with a voucher to take the Security Plus exam. The next one is almost full. We only take 10 students per class. That one starts February 12th. So I mean, if you can't get in there, we have them running throughout the year. The next one after that is going to be in May. All right. Yo, 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 what's going on, Maddox? Maddox 12. Yo, 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 welcome to the community. Nice to meet you. If you have any questions while we're going through our topic for today, please don't hesitate. Throw it in. If it sounds like a silly question, nobody cares, y'all. Nobody really cares. Just drop it. If we can do our job to try to help you ask the question better, then we're gonna do that. All right, that's it. Let's go ahead and jump into this Cyber Thursday lesson for today. I really don't want to keep us up too late, but we have fun. We make mistakes. We got to figure out the mistake before we get off. So let's go ahead and get to it. All right, let me explain what we got set up over here, though. So I almost said his name. I try to keep people anonymous when they give us things to do on Cyber Thursday. So I'm just gonna call him. We'll call him Mike, right? Right. So Mike, he had a question, right? He wanted to know how to set up multiple Splunk services from one machine. Okay, so if you're not familiar with Splunk, that's okay. We're not going to go into the full weeds of it, right? I am a certified Splunk consultant, so I'll do my best to not dive into the nitty gritty of Splunk, but I'm going to give you enough, especially enough for Mike to be able to have his question answered. So we have two Splunk instances right here. If you're familiar with Splunk, it's a SIM tool, one of the most in demand SIM tools out there, right? If you're not familiar with what a SIM tool is simply what we use to aggregate. That's a fancy word. This is what we use to collect logs from multiple locations, multiple endpoints, multiple applications, multiple sources. You have firewall logs, router logs, switches, computers, different applications that you want to send to one location so your SOC analyst, not even just a SOC analyst, but anybody can maintain visibility on those logs, right? And obviously do some type of investigations if they are working in a SOC. So that's Splunk, but Splunk has different components or instances, right? So you have your Splunk search head, you have your Splunk indexer. The indexer, this is where we store all of the data, right? If you have your firewall, router, you have computers, other applications, you're going to send all that data to the indexer. We're going to collect it all in the indexer. Think of the indexer as a big bucket, right? It's just a big bucket of data, big bucket of events and logs. And then this search head over here, right? This search head, and these two are servers. This is a server. This is a server. Okay. And well, let me slow down because I'm getting ready to start nerding out on y'all. So we have two servers, two Splunk servers. One is an indexer. That's where we're collecting all the logs. And then the search head, this is where our users are going to log into. They're going to log into the search head, just like Maddox. He may log into the search head. Mike may log into the search head. I may log into the search head. This is the search head, actually, right here on the left hand side. But we log into the search head to start querying the data that's in the indexer, right? So any type of events, any type of data that you want to start analyzing, you want to start monitoring, you want to start making cool charts on, you're going to log into this guy first. And then you're going to use this guy to start pulling the logs from the indexer. In both of these servers, the searcher, that's a Splunk server, the indexer, that's another Splunk server, but they have different roles, okay? Sweet. Now, that's the Splunk side of the setup, okay? We have our two instances, the search head and the indexer. Mike's question is, how do we provision those? Provision just means create. How do we provision those from one location? Easy, right? There are many ways to do it, but what we're going to use is Ansible. There are many ways to do this, okay? Right? You can merely use scripts to do it if you wanted to, right? But we're going to use Ansible. Ansible is a pretty cool config management tool. And the reason we're going to use Ansible is because we've been using Ansible the last few weeks, right, for Cyber Thursday. But we've been using Ansible to spin up one server. This time, we have used Ansible to spin up both of these servers. And if you're just joining us, if you don't know what Ansible is a config management tool. We can remotely manage our environments, right? So we're going to use this one server to remotely spin up two different instances of Splunk. All right, sweet. Now, once again, I'm not gonna go into the nitty gritty of Splunk. I would love to, but that's gonna take a lot longer, much more time than what we have allotted for today. We do have Splunk courses. They are actually my favorite courses that we have. We have a Splunk engineer course, we have Splunk fundamentals course, we have Splunk incident response courses. We have a bunch of Splunk courses. They break everything down that you need to know from a fundamental perspective, how to onboard logs into Splunk. Check them out, olinesecurity.com. All right, sweet. So that's the topology that we have over here. Okay, so let's go and let me pull this keyboard out. So let's break this down. All right, let's start with what do we want to start with? What do we want to start with? What do we want to start with? All right, let's start with the playbooks. Okay, so we already have these two servers spun up. All right, I can show you the two servers right here on the back end. If I believe ping 192.168.56.102. This is my I'm pinging right now. I'm pinging the indexer, right? So the indexer is at 192.168.56.102. I'll break that down again in a second. And our search head 192.56, that's 103. All right, so they're both online. They're both online, and right now, let me just explain this, right? If you're not familiar, if you're just joining us, I'm using VS Code. The bottom half of VS Code is my terminal. The top half is a text editor. Okay, so right now I'm this. Just think of this as a normal command prompt, normal terminal, whatever you want to call it. We're running commands down here, and above we have our text editor to look at different files. All right, so right now we're logged into the Ansible server, right? I call my Ansible server AIO, right? This is the Ansible server that we're logged into on the back end. And what I use to create these different systems are just Ansible playbooks. Okay, I'm going to actually remove some of this so it's not too confusing. Yeah, I'll stretch this out a bit. Let me see how that looks. I'm going to zoom in. That's better. Yeah, I'm going to zoom in some more. What I'm going to do. All right, so let's start with this guy right here. All right, so we're familiar with these two playbooks from the last two Cyber Thursdays. All right, this playbook right here is just testing connection, so I'm actually going to remove that guy. We don't care about that right now. So this playbook right here, and I'm going to open up the playbook, but I just want you to see the command that we use to run the playbook. All right, this playbook right here is what we use to actually install Splunk on these two servers, right? We're using one playbook, which is this guy. I'm going to break it down to install Splunk on the search head and the indexers, because the search head and the indexers, they're just servers, right? When they first start out, they're just systems. They're not Splunk. There's nothing installed on it. There's no search head on it. There's no indexer on it. There's nothing on it. It's just Splunk. I mean, it's just a server, right? So, but what we do to turn it into a Splunk search head or a Splunk indexer, we first have to install Splunk on it. And that's what we did last week, 2 weeks ago. We installed Splunk with this playbook. Now let me just show you what this command is doing real quick before I open up the playbook. Right, so I'm just using sudo to run something as this user called Vagrant. And what we're doing is running, if you're familiar with the last few Cyber Thursdays, we're using this Ansible playbook command, right? Ansible playbook command is it's just the command you use to run any type of playbook. Okay, Ansible playbook, that's the name of the command. The dash I, you have to point over to the inventory file, right? That's where all of the hosts, all of your targets that you're trying to install the playbooks are on. This just happens to be where our inventory.txt file lives. I just gave the full working directory, so it doesn't matter where I run it from. And then the actual playbook that we want to run. This is the full working directory or the full path, the full absolute path of our playbook, the Splunk base install.yaml. I'm going to quickly go through it because we went through this 2 weeks ago, right? We set this up together 2 weeks ago. This is the playbook right here, right? This is the playbook that's going to install Splunk on both of these servers. Scratch the fact that one of them's a search head, one of them's an indexer. We don't care about that yet, right? Just scratch that. This Splunk playbook right here is literally installing Splunk on those servers, right? Just rewind to 2 weeks ago. I may post the video in the description. I'm not that fancy with YouTube yet, but if I remember, I'll post that video in the description or do one of those little taggy things that people do on their videos. But this playbook right here, real quick, is installing Splunk on both of those servers. You see this host? We're targeting all of our Splunk servers. I just call it Splunk all. You can see that right here. Right? This Splunk all, two servers, 102 and 103. 102, that's our indexer. 103, that is our search head. If you joined us earlier, you saw when I pinged both of them, they're both online. 102 is the indexer, 103 is the search head. So, and we just categorize it as Splunk all. That's the name of that group. So this playbook is going to push the Splunk install to both of those systems, right? So we're doing that from one machine. Yeah, yeah, you can join us on Zoom if you want to. That's all right. If I miss it, just yell at me or something, or send me another message on Discord. So this playbook right here is going to install Splunk on both of those servers, right? On both of those servers. We're not turning it into a search head yet. We're not turning it into an indexer yet. We're just going to install Splunk. That's the first step. And we're doing it from one system, okay? Mike, we're doing it from one machine, right? We're going to run this playbook from one machine, and this playbook is going to hit those two servers. First thing it's going to do is download Splunk, right? It's going to run this URL module to download Splunk. Then it's going to extract Splunk out of that file. We're going to remove the tar file because we don't need it anymore after we extract it. We're going to add the Splunk user. We're going to change permissions, chown Splunk. We're going to start Splunk, stop Splunk, do some other stuff. I'm going through this quickly because we went through this 2 weeks ago and I don't want to be too redundant right now. I want to get to the nitty gritty of actually turning the servers into an indexer or turning them into a search head. But once again, this playbook right here is literally going to install Splunk on these two servers. Cool. Now what's next? We need to turn these servers into a search head and an indexer. Okay, we have to turn them into a search head and an indexer. The indexer is what? That's the bucket that we're storing all of the data inside of. We have a playbook to do that. And we're going to run that playbook from this one machine, from our Ansible machine. Ansible is going to literally push that playbook to the target. Whatever we tell Ansible to target, it's going to push the playbook to that system, right? So the playbook that we use for that is my guy right over here, configure indexer. So how the heck does this work? This playbook is a lot cleaner, right? It's doing something really simple. But what this playbook is doing is deploying this application or this folder. The application is just a folder of configuration files. I'll show it to you. It's deploying this folder over to the indexer, right? And the contents inside of that folder, they're configuration files, they're config files. The context, or I said context, the contents inside of this O-line indexer folder, this O-line indexer app, are just a bunch of configuration files that are telling Splunk to behave as an indexer. It is telling Splunk to behave as an indexer. Matter of fact, let's just log into the indexer real quick. All right, so let's do that through Splunk. I'm going to switch over to the Splunk user. I'm going to do this real quick. Import P2I. Just give me 1 second. I gotta. I always forget how to do this sometimes. I think it's because I'm on YouTube Live and I'm nervous. Python 3-C import. What did I do wrong? Wait. PTY, PTY, bash, boom. No module name import. Huh. I'm doing something wrong here. I have a cheat sheet, right? So let me just pull it up for PTY. Let's see if it pops up for me. PTY dot. There we go. Huh. I thought that's what I did. Let's do it again. Python 3-C import PTY dot spawn. Oh, I missed the spawn. Then bash. Boom. Okay. That's all I needed. I just needed a more interactive shell real quick. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and cd over to Splunk Etsy apps, and we're gonna go over to this folder that we just talked about, the O-line indexer folder, right? This O-line indexer folder. It's really an application that Splunk is gonna use to turn itself into an indexer. And that's what this playbook is pushing to the indexer, right? So we're gonna be, where did it go? Did I miss it? What did I do with that file? Here it is. All right, so we're literally pushing this O-line indexer folder to the indexer. That's what we're doing here, right? That's what this playbook is doing. It's pushing this O-line indexer folder to our indexer so it can tell the server, hey, your job is to be the Splunk indexer. C Dub, you said you're in the lobby. One more time, jump back in the lobby one more time. I'm looking at it. Well, I'm gonna push it over here to the right. And oh, I see your message. My bad. Here, try again. Try lobby time. All right, cool. Try and join the lobby one more time. Sorry, I missed that. I wasn't paying attention. All right, so Ansible is going to push this folder over to the indexer to tell it to be an indexer. And we're doing this remotely. We're doing this from one machine. We're saying, hey, push that folder, that application, so our server can be a Splunk indexer. We don't want it to be a Splunk search header. We want it to be an indexer, right? And what are we doing to do that? CD local. Let's see. Cat web.conf, right? Basic settings. I'm not going to go through all these settings, but this setting right here is one of the configuration files. It's going to turn our Splunk server into an indexer. And most importantly, this inputs.conf file, right? This right here. This right here. This is going to tell the server, hey, open up. Hey, what's up, Cedric? What's going on? I don't know if you can hear me because I have my mic muted on Zoom, but I should be able to hear you. Now, this setting right here, this is important for the indexer. This is literally telling the indexer to open up port 9997, right? This is telling this indexer right here to open up port 9997. That is what we're going to use to send data. That's the port we're going to use to send data to the indexer. That's the port that the indexer is going to have open to accept data. It doesn't matter if the data is coming from a firewall, router, system, computer, users, phones, mobile devices. It doesn't matter. We're telling it, hey, open up port 9997 so you can accept data. All right. So now, and that's all this playbook right here is doing to set up the indexer, right? We're literally pushing over this application, right? And remember, this application is just the O-line indexer application, O-line indexer folder, That is how we're setting up the indexer to be an indexer. Because before we push this out to it, it's literally just a simple folder. I mean, it's just a server. It's just a Splunk server. It's not a Splunk search head. It's not a Splunk indexer yet. It's just a regular Splunk server, right? It can do a bunch of different things. But we only want this to be an indexer. Okay. Now, next. All right. So we went from installing Splunk on both of these servers, right? With this playbook. Let's just look at them in order. With this first playbook, and then let's clean this up. Then we don't need this guy. We don't need this guy. Oh, we're missing one. I don't see the sir. Oh, there it is. I'm just gonna remove this. Remove this. We just need the name. Boom. Boom. So the first playbook, and remember, this is all being done remotely. We're right here on the Ansible. This is the Ansible server. This is a server on its own. We have our indexer. Then we have our search head. And from Ansible, we're going to push over this first playbook to both of those servers. Say, hey, turn yourself into Splunk. Download and install Splunk on your servers. The next playbook is going to do what? The next playbook, this guy right here that we just looked at, right? That was the playbook we literally just looked at. This playbook right here is going to turn this Splunk server into an indexer. So let's do it like this. The first playbook hits both of them, right? The first playbook hits both of them and turns them both into Splunk servers. Cool. The next playbook is going to turn one of them into a Splunk indexer. Sweet. That's what we just looked at. The next playbook after that is going to turn this one into a search head. It doesn't matter how many servers you have. You can have 100 servers, 50 servers, 2 servers, 3 servers, 1 server. You have your playbooks. Your playbooks are located on one machine. And from that one machine, you are deploying, you're pushing out those playbooks to multiple machines. Maybe one machine, two machines, five machines, 10 machines. It doesn't matter. Okay, it doesn't matter. But essentially, this is how we would do it. Let's take a look at this search playbook, how we set up our search head. That is my guy right here. So don't worry about this. I'm gonna take that out. Don't worry about this. So essentially the same thing. We're using another Ansible playbook to push out the O-line search app, right? Remember this O-line search app, you can call it whatever you want to call it. You can give it whatever name you want to give it. It's simply a folder that has a bunch of configuration files inside of it. And we're deploying this from Ansible, right? The source is going to be from our Ansible server, and we're pushing it to the destination, which is going to be this guy, the search head, right? This guy, the search head. And if you remember from last week, all these different lines, it's the same line, same task, same become to become root, same thing from 2 weeks ago, right? But this playbook is what we're using to create the search head. Now, if we come back and just do a quick recap, we have our Ansible server because this is really important for you, Mike. This is really important for you. I see you in here. So this is the one machine that we're pushing our playbooks out to set Splunk up. Okay. The first playbook right here, the Splunk based install playbook, is going to set Splunk up on both of those servers. And then the second playbook is going to turn one of them into an indexer. The third playbook is going to turn the other one into a search head. Okay. And that's how we have this. So we're back here. And if I wanted to run the playbooks again, I'm not going to, but if I wanted to run the playbooks again, this would be the first playbook. I just do AP, that's a shortcut. Instead of me typing Ansible dash playbook dash inventory, I have a shortcut that I created, right? But I would just run this playbook. I'm not going to run it again. That's going to install both of those machines. I'm on the Ansible server right here. You can see Ansible. The second playbook would be configure indexer.yaml, right? That would turn one of them into, right? You can see it would turn one of them into the indexer. And then we could do the last one. This is going to turn our search head or one of the Splunk servers into a search head. And that's what we have here, right? So right now on this left-hand side, I'm going to blow this up and I'm going to zoom in a bit. This is the search head. This is the search head we configured, we provisioned from one location. We did this from the Ansible server. The search head is working. Remember what we said the search head was for? This is what you're using to query data, right? Our Splunk engineer students, the ones that are in here right now, you know what this search head is for, right? This is what we're using to query data. Thanks a lot, Maddox. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. This is what we use to query data. Okay, where are we querying the data from? From the indexer. Can we log into the indexer like this? You shouldn't be able to. We turn that feature off. We can try to. We can try to at over here, but it's not going to work because we shouldn't be able to log into our indexer from the front end. Okay, we shouldn't be able to do that from the front end. However, you should be able to log into your search head from the front end. The indexer, we can access it from the back end for management and configuration and engineering, but we shouldn't be able to log into that from the front end. All right, and why is it like that? That's because of the playbook we pushed out. This configure indexer turns off the GUI. The GUI is the front end that we can interact with. It turns off the GUI. Okay, this playbook right here to set up the search head, it allows us, it's telling this search head, hey, make a connection with that index. Right, make a connection with that index. I'm going to nerd out for a quick second. That playbook set up this connection right here to our indexer. All right, this is the indexer 192.168.56.102.8089. That playbook, we didn't have to do it by logging into the search head. We did it from a remote server. We did it from the Ansible server. We told Ansible push the playbook out to that search head and make sure the search head has a connection to its peer, to its indexer, and we can see it right here. Right, we can see it right here. You do this all remotely in an enterprise situation. You're not going to do this manually, individually, one server at a time. You're going to do this from one location. And a great way to do that is with Ansible. Now, let's go ahead and just verify. We're going to run a quick search. Let me know if you have any questions. Index equals, let's do internal. And we'll do it by host. So we should be able, well, let's do it by Splunk server. So we should be able to see just the indexer. Right. So this indexer is the Splunk server that we're getting data from. For all the people who are not Splunkers yet, you're not Splunkers right now. You know what? I won't even go there yet because that's just gonna open up another rabbit hole that I might not come out of. All right. So we just did a Splunk search, right? A quick Splunk search to verify that the Splunk server, I mean that the indexer is the one sending us data right now. right? Or that's what we're paired into. And we can see that this is the name of my indexer. I just call it IDX indexer. I think that's what everybody does in their dev environment. But you can see that here. If I wanted to look at all the hosts, we can see that we're getting events from the search head because we're logged into the search head, obviously. And we're getting events from the indexer. Okay, so it is working perfectly. It's healthy, right? We got all green checks right here, so it's healthy. It's working. If it wasn't working, if we couldn't pair, if we couldn't query the indexer, right? Because this is the search head, and this is the indexer. Right now, the search head, we're the users. This is us right here, and we're using this search head to get data from the indexer. If we couldn't get data from the indexer, this will, well, not that one, but this one would be red, right? That would be red, right? This might be red too. Okay, but we are getting data from the indexers. Data's forwarding over successfully. We're good. Everything's healthy. And that, my friends, is how we do it. Now, I can go ahead and just run the playbook. Here, this is pretty small. Let's zoom in just so you can see how it would look. Now, I'll do it the long way for you. Ansible playbook, -I playbook. Which one are we going to run? Actually, let's get the status of Splunk. So this playbook right now is going to go ahead and so we're going to get the status. So what this playbook is going to do, this is us. We're over here. All right. We're over here. What we're going to do now is run a command on both of these servers. We're just going to get the status. We're going to run Splunk status. Instead of logging into these servers individually, we're going to do that from this guy. Okay. With the playbook. All right. So let's go ahead and do that. Remember, what we're looking at down here is us on this server. We're just on the back end. So this playbook is going to go ahead and try to get the status. We know that the status is green right now because obviously we were playing around in it. So it's starting, well, I should change the name because it's not starting anything. It should be called status check. But that's just the name of that task. That I should change that. So it's getting a status. And right now that, here, let's do that V so you can actually see it. So we're going to do it again. Don't worry about this. This should actually not say start Splunk. It should be something like getting status. But right now you can see that it is getting the status. Look at this right here. It says Splunk D is running. That is a status check. Splunk D is running, right? If I were to log into that server, I'm going to log into the search head and do the same thing we just did from Ansible, right? I'm going to do the same thing we just did from Ansible. Let's see. P2I spawn. So we're going to do the same thing, Splunk status. But this time, I'm logged into the search head, right? You can see I'm logged into the search head this time. This time, I'm not over here pushing playbooks out. This time, I'm logged into the search head because I want you to see it, how it would be done manually. This time, I'm literally logged into the search head and I'm running Splunk status. And you can see we get the same output. Splunk D is running. All right, I'm going to log out of the search head. And why are we showing you this? Just so you, right? So Mike knows how to manage multiple servers from one location. We're managing these servers from this location. This is Mike right here. This is us. Mike shouldn't have to log into the search head. He shouldn't have to log directly into the indexer. No, he should only have to log into the Ansible server and run all his commands, all his playbooks from the Ansible server. Now we can stop Splunk, right? We have a playbook to stop Splunk. That's going to stop Splunk from running. Once this is done, this search head up here, this should crash, right? Because we're going to stop it. So you'll see I have this tablet in my way, so I can't. Let me move it over. The tablet that I'm drawing on, so I can't really see everything. I'm over here trying to peep over and whatnot. All right, Splunk is stopping. Splunk is stopping. Look at that. Disconnected from Splunk server. We didn't log into the search head to stop it. We're logged into the Ansible server. All right, Mike. We're logged into the Ansible server. I'm a ping you after this Cyber Thursday, Mike, just to make sure that you understand everything. We're logged into the Ansible server and we said, hey Ansible, stop both of these. Maybe there's some maintenance we want to do. So we're gonna stop it. Okay. That stopped. Let's start it back up. Um actually, yeah, I was about to nerd out. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. I want to do it, but I'm not gonna do it. Now we're gonna go ahead and start Splunk back up. All right. We're not gonna log into the search yet. We're not gonna log into the indexer. We're gonna do it remotely from the Ansible server using an Ansible playbook. All right. So we're gonna start it. Start it back up, and this should bring our search head back up. And that's pretty much it, y'all. This is how you can remotely manage multiple servers from one location. It's with Ansible playbooks. All right. Ansible playbooks, Ansible playbooks, Ansible playbooks. If you want to see how step by step what each of the tasks and each of the modules are doing inside of our playbook, right? Like this playbook right here, then I want you to go back to our older video from 2 weeks ago. Actually, let me make a note. Drop Splunk base install playbook description. I'm gonna try to do that little cool thing where they pin the video at the top, and it just pops up right there. It's like, oh, click that video. I'm gonna try to do that with this one. But if you want to see what this playbook is doing, right, really want to understand what this playbook is doing step by step, right? Each of these are different tasks. If you want to understand what each task is doing, then I want you to go. I'm gonna post a video that we did about 2 weeks ago, and you can check that out. But you can see Splunk has started back up, and boom, we're back in. All right, we are back in. He said, "Do it." All right, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. He said, "Do it." You shouldn't have said that. I'm gonna do it now. All right, so let's go back here and stop Splunk because I want to show you. I'm just gonna do this one thing. All right, let me see what time is it. Make sure my wife doesn't get too upset with me because I'm having fun. All right, so we're gonna do it real quick. We're gonna stop Splunk one more time because you may not have a playbook for everything. You may not have a playbook for everything. Okay, there are certain commands, let's say IP config or IF config, or maybe you want to run netstat, or maybe you want to run the ARP command. You're not going to make a playbook for IP config. You're not going to make a playbook to run IF config. You're not going to make a playbook to run netstat. We make playbook for like a series of tasks, right? A bunch of different tasks. I mean, maybe you want to make a playbook to run IF config. Why I don't know. Right? Well, no, I don't know. So we could still though. It doesn't matter. Even though we don't have a playbook for it, we can still use Ansible to run commands across different servers. They don't have to be playbooks. We can still run ifconfig. Quick cool point. What does ifconfig do? Somebody drop that in the comment. What does ifconfig or ipconfig show us? We can still run ifconfig, ipconfig, any type of command from this one Ansible server and push that command out to the search head and the indexer, right? Instead of Larry logging into the search head and running ifconfig or Maddox logging into this indexer to run ifconfig, you can run it from this server right here. Okay, so let me show you that real quick because I don't have a playbook to do that, right? But I know the command to do it. We can still use Ansible. So it would be something like Ansible. Dang, I forgot. Um, dash I inventory Splunk all dash M shell dash A the command. I'll let me get it out of my head first and I'll explain it. Um, let me make sure that works. Okay, yeah, I think that's it. All right, so okay, cool. This is too bunched up for me. All right, so I'm going to erase it. We're going to do it again. All right, so this isn't a playbook. I'm not running a playbook. A playbook is literally this YAML file, right? It has tasks inside of it. Playbooks have tasks. This is another playbook, right? Um, this is a playbook. This is a playbook, right? These are playbooks. This right here is not a playbook. This right here, once again, I like to show pictures to explain stuff. That's just how my brain works. This again, good job. It just Larry said that it displays the IP addresses. Good job. What we just did right here, like what's right here at the bottom, this is running ifconfig on both the search head and the indexer. But we're doing that from Ansible, right? This is where we are. We just told Ansible, hey, run this command on these two servers. So what is this command going to give us? It's going to give us the IP addresses, right? Instead of you logging into them individually, you're running the command remotely. So I'm going to break this down real quick. You said do it. I didn't want to do it, so I got to nerd out a little bit. So we're using this Ansible command. We're not using the Ansible dash playbook command right here. It's just Ansible. And then we're going to do dash I. We're pointing over to the inventory file. That's where our targets are. And I told Splunk, hey, I want you to run the command on both of the servers, right? Because I have them both under this group called Splunk All. And this m-m is for the module. We're using the shell module, right, to run things on the shell, right, inside of a shell, command line, command prompt. The dash A, dash B, I can't remember what those are doing, but this is the command that we're running, ifconfig, right, ifconfig, and we're running that on both of those machines. So if I run it, and I know the IP addresses, good job, Maddox, the IP settings. I know the IP addresses, you can see it. So the first one, 192.168.56.103, that is our search head, right? We talked about that at the beginning of this session today, right? That is the search head. And then the next one, the indexer, is the 192.168.56.102. All right, so I'm gonna do it one more time, but this time I'm gonna do it from a Splunk perspective, right? Because I have config, that's something really simple. We don't really care about that right now. We're Splunkers, right? Splunk, Splunk, Splunk. This time I'm gonna delete all the data in this index from this guy. Don't do this in the rope. Don't do this at work, right? Don't you do this at work, you didn't learn it from me, right? Don't do this at work. You don't delete your data and your indexes. Just don't do this at work, okay? I kind of don't want to show it to you anymore. Just don't do this at work, right? You shouldn't be clearing events out of your indexes, okay? Um, yeah, don't do this at work. Please don't do this at work. So I'm gonna run a command from Ansible, right? This is gonna be us, and I'm gonna run a command that's gonna delete all the data out of this index. All right, so we're gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna use this Ansible command, point to my inventory file. I only wanted to do it on the index. I mean, it doesn't even matter. Let's just do it on all of them. Who cares? Um, dash M shell dash A dash B, and then the command. I'm gonna do it as Splunk Splunk then Splunk clean event data dash F. I think that's the syntax. Splunk Splunk then Splunk clean event data dash X. There we go. Cool. Oh, and it did it on both of them. Oh yeah, because I did Splunk all. Okay, cool. So it did it on the first one, 192.168.56.103. It did it on the second one, 192.168.56.102. We're doing this all remote. That's the whole point of this cyber Thursday, y'all. Managing your environment from one location. Managing your environment from one location. Are you supposed to know how to do all this spontaneously? You're supposed to automatically know these things. Is this magic? No. I've been doing this for a long time, y'all. I've been Splunking for a very long time. I've been a Splunk consultant for a very long time. All these commands, I've been using Ansible for a very long time. I actually went through Ansible courses, right? Live courses in person in Virginia, right? Ansible delivery. I have the Ansible delivery specialist certification. I'm not a genie. I'm not a wizard. I'm not just this super intelligent guy. I think I'm a smart person, but this is practice, right? This is things that I've been doing over and over and over again. It's just muscle memory, right? We're doing this from one location, right? You can do this too. You can learn this stuff too. This It's not difficult, right? You just look at this YouTube video over and over and over. Take notes on it. Take notes from the commands that we're doing. Take notes on the playbook, right? Go back into the other playbooks that we did on the last few Cyber Thursdays. Write it down. Get familiar with it. Ansible is an in-demand tool. Ansible is a highly in demand tool. Why? Because you're doing things remotely. You should not be logging into your servers individually. You should not be logging into the servers to do manual tasks. It's there are situations where you will log into the server. Let's say something crashes, something goes down, you need to figure out what's going on. Then you may need to log into something individually. But for the most part, you should be managing your environment from one location. Okay, from one server, one location. Doesn't have to be Ansible. No, there are other configuration management tools out there. There's Salt. I've used the Salt. I've used Salt before. I actually learned Salt before Ansible. Yeah, there's other stuff. There's Puppet. There are a bunch of different things. You could just use scripts, right? You could just use Python scripts. You could use Bash scripts. It depends on your environment. You can use PowerShell scripts. There's so many different things. All right, that is it, y'all. No more nerding out for the night. No more nerding out for the night. Hey, y'all, if you, first of all, I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight for Cyber Thursday. Y'all could be doing other things. Obviously, you can be getting some rest. Tomorrow's Friday. Today's Friday Junior. But you decided to join us tonight for Cyber Thursday. So thank you so much. Thank you for just making this community dope, right? The questions that you all are posting on the comment section, the feedback, the suggestions, the tips, the tricks. Please keep it up. If there's something that you want to see on another Cyber Thursday, feel free to leave it in the comment section. If you're part of our O-line security community, you already know you can send me a message on Discord. You can drop it in our Cyber Thursday channel. Whatever you want to do, just let me know. If we can do it, we're going to go ahead and knock it out. If we can't, I'm still going to try to do it, right? That's the engineer in me. I'll spin up some type of lab, some type of environment, break some things, fail, try again, break some things, fail, try again, just so we can try to help you, all right? Other than that, if you are trying to get Security Plus certified, you're trying to break into InfoSec, IT, cybersecurity, check out our Security Fundamentals Academy. We got a few students who are on Cyber Thursday with us. It's a pretty dope, pretty great academy. We care about you. We care about all of our students. We care about your goals, your career. Check it out. Look at the reviews. We have a lot of testimonies on YouTube, a lot of testimonies on Google as well. Right, 10 weeks, Monday through Thursday, 8:15 to 9:35 p.m. Next one starts February. That one's almost full, so I'm pretty sure that's going to fill up. But the academies for the rest of the year are online. Right, they're all online. Just go to onlinesecurity.com. Other than that, I'm going to end this stream. I'm going to see everybody on the next Cyber Thursday. Thank you for joining us. If you have any questions, don't forget to leave it here. Everybody that's tuned